Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. You're looking live at PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday. That means we have the good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. And then we're going to have Edgar Thompson, who had the breaking news last night of the first two coaches fired by Billy Napier from his staff. And we'll talk more about that. If you missed it last night, it was a barn burner on Monday Night Football. The Bears win 12-10. Josh Dobbs throws 4 interceptions. I wonder if the tape has caught up with him. So we'll see. But let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we got the one and the only Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, Shane. How you doing? Good to talk to you again today, and good to have you on the show last night. We had a big crowd last night, not because of the host, just because of the content. Like you said, has the other shoe dropped yet? Have more coaches been fired? And Shane, it's coming.
Yeah, it's not only happening here at Florida. It's happening all around the country. There are multiple head coaching jobs available. More will come about. The portal opens up December the 4th, which is Monday, I think. Boy, it's going to be nuts. A lot of guys from Miami, their quarterbacks in the portal. Kansas State starting quarterbacks in the portal. It's going to be the wild, wild west, and it is nuts. So, Louis,
I think it's going to be the wild, wild west and the wild, wild east this time. Both.
It's going to be all over the country. Louis says he better have new coaches lined up quickly, firing good recruiters this early. Yes, I mean, look, Billy ain't dumb, but let me just say this: I hate it when coaches get fired. Doesn't matter what level, because when you lose your job, it affects your entire family, kids, and all that. Having said that, everybody on this show, buddy, including myself and you and everybody, all your loyal listeners around the world, we can't cover anybody. We can't stop the run. We can't pressure the quarterback. Okay? Well, Billy basically said, okay, those two coaches at those areas, I'm firing them.
Well, do we know for 100% they were fired?
I'll ask Edgar, but they could have said, look, I want to go somewhere else. They may have other.
They said parted ways is the story, and they probably were. But I'm just thinking maybe they had NFL in their mind. Shane, you said all along, NFL jobs are much better today because they don't have to recruit. Maybe these guys just said, hey, I know Corey Brewer's been trying to get to the pros for a long time, so I don't know. I just raised that question because I don't know.
Joseph says reports are Jeff Burris. I believe I was a teammate of Jeff Burris. Is a name to look out for to fill the corner DB coaching job. Maybe it didn't Jeff Burris. The same. He says he's from Louisiana. The Jeff Burris I'm thinking of. He played at Notre Dame, and I think I played with him with the Bears, but maybe a different guy.
Shane, you play with everybody.
I played a long time, so I did have a bunch of teammates. I don't remember them all. They don't probably remember me either. Everybody on here says, buddy, they were fired.
Yeah, well, how would they know that?
Well, they know, buddy.
No, how do they know? Because when they asked the guy,
I don't know if they know or not.
Because
everybody thinks they know, right?
The story said parted ways.
Yeah, Nat says parting ways is a polite way of saying you're fired.
Perhaps, or maybe there was an agreement. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think they were fired, but we don't have that hard evidence. And just like us, Shane, we don't know what's going on there. Fans don't know. They don't know. They just take up a shot. So let's just talk about it from the language standpoint, parted ways. What does that mean? You can ask Edgar. He would have a better – by the way, kudos to Edgar. Great job. He scooped everybody on that. He's a heck of a reporter, I got to say. Congratulations to Edgar.
Yeah. Toby says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, Mark Hope, the strength coach, will be back at Florida. I don't know about that. Maybe will be. I don't think so. But 941 Lowlife on YouTube says decommit city is coming. I don't know if that's true because look, as I said on your show last night, buddy, we may lose some, but recruiting is totally different than it used to be because you can legally pay people now. So and we don't know what has been offered to Buddy Martin out of Ocala Forest, whether that coach that you had that great relationship gets fired or not, you may still like the dollar amounts that your contract, and I'm using contract, and I mean, we can't sit here and play dumb. Okay. That's what recruiting is today. How much money are you going to pay me to come to your school? That's what it is. Nobody will ever say it's not like that now.
Well, Shane, let's roll back the clock to yesteryear and say, in your second MVP or your first MVP year at Florida when you played, if who was coaching Houston, not who was coaching out there, would offer you money to come and could legally do it, would you have left Spurrier?
No, because
you would not
but it's a different world today. Because we saw, I've mentioned it many times, the two receivers at Georgia were the best receivers on their two teams. And obviously they knew they were going to win a championship, so they wanted to go play for a title. Will they play for a title this year? We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to look, I do believe we're going to lose some players to the portal.
No doubt. Absolutely. 100% going to lose them.
Yep. Whether they're happy or they've been offered more money somewhere else, it's going to happen. So
Billy's got to know that, and I would think Billy ought to be primed for the portal because that's the quickest fix for him. He's got young players coming. If he holds most of his class, the Lagway class together, Shane, it looks like he might. Then how do you get the quickest fix? You don't get it through recruiting high school players. You got to go busy, and like Shane said, like Fran said, go get 15 players in the portal.
Yeah. Neil says to my point, that's why no one should be concerned about Lagway leaving the class, NIL. Exactly.
Works both ways.
Toby says here, would you like to see Ed Ogeron as the D-line coach in Code DC?
No, not really.
All right. Reggie says we need players to enter the portal to see what we have committed, to sign what we have committed. Okay.
Hey, here's a note for you, Shane. The portal. And talking to Urban over the weekend, he said, I talked to one of the top basketball coaches in the country, and I have an idea who it is. He said about the portal, how tough it was. He said, not really. He said, it saves me time. He said, I get down to the end, I ask, how much you going to take? He said, either I pay it or I don't. I'm done. I'm not going to recruit him for 3 years. So there's that too, Shane.
Yeah. Text on the Titan our text line. Not sure who this is from. Says, Shane, to my knowledge, Florida has 5 billionaire benefactors for academics. However, Florida has 0 billionaire benefactors for athletics. Maybe we convince some of the academic benefactors to donate to the NIL, problem solved.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't care about sports, academic folks. All right, this one is from Daryl. Says, good morning, guys. With all the NIL money, Graham Mertz needs to get a deal with a hot tub company the way he's been beat up and injured this
year.
That's
true.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Graham comes back. He has another year of eligibility.
Do you think he will, Shane?
I don't know. Zach here asked who will be the starting QB for the Gators next season, Mertz, Lagway, or portal QB. I do believe if Graham comes back, he's your quarterback.
He's a starter, yeah.
I don't know if he does, though, buddy, because he played really well this year. And can he play better? Possibly. But he's losing Ricky Pearsall. They had a great relationship. So does he say, you know what? I'm ready to move on and go pro? Now, people are like, he's not going to get drafted. Well, he may not. Hell, I didn't get drafted. So that doesn't matter.
You made a couple checks, didn't you?
What's that?
You made a couple checks, didn't you?
Correct, but I didn't get drafted. Everybody talks about where's
I know, but you got 14 years worth of paydays out of
him. So I firmly believe his leadership ability, the teammate that he is, his intelligence, his accuracy, how he can learn things like that. I think he will play in the NFL for a long time as a backup.
Okay. I think he'll come back here. I think he showed a level of commitment beyond And I think it's the perfect scenario. Lagway coming behind him. You made a comment last night that Max Brown would never start another game. I don't know about that, Shane. I'm not so sure about that. I know you know quarterbacks better than I do. It's just a hunch. My hunch is that Lagway comes in. They'd like to redshirt him if they could. Might not be able to, but Mertz is going to be coming back.
Either Mertz or Lagway be your quarterbacks next year.
Yes, I agree with that.
Toby wants to know, do you think Montrell and Trevor will be back? I don't know.
No way of knowing.
Yeah. Joseph says Graham's getting paid $1 million. No way he's getting drafted. Of course, he's coming back and taking the money, but he can go make a roster and make a lot of money too, and not have to worry about going to class and stuff. So everybody doesn't think he's going to play in the NFL. I do.
Okay.
I didn't say start. You got to remember, there's 32 teams, and most of them have 3 quarterbacks. And have y'all watched some of these guys play quarterback on Sundays?
That's 120 quarterbacks.
He reminds me of so much of Brock Purdy.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Joseph says Kyle Trask can't bust through the starting lineup, and he's 10. Joseph, I'm not talking about starting.
He played behind Tom Brady for 2 years.
I said Kyle Trask was going to last in the NFL as a backup for a long time. I
said the same thing.
He may never start a game. He may never start a game in the National Football League, but he will play because he's smart and he's accurate.
He's a classic NFL quarterback backup.
People forget there's only 32 quarterbacks that can play on Sundays.
By the way, Steve Spurrier was a backup quarterback almost all his career.
Yeah. David says Shane said Max was limited thrower and FSU exploited it. I mean, I don't like to be negative towards people, but like I said, I don't know a whole lot about in the world, buddy, but I feel like I do know the quarterback position.
You do know quarterbacks, yes.
And I think Graham Mertz is going to be a guy that plays in the NFL.
And you called that shot a long time ago, and you're right. Yeah. You thought he was the guy, and he was the guy. He played great. That's one thing they got better than they expected out of. By the way, Shane, the coaching firings, if I may step in here for a second, I've been through 10 of these turnovers. Actually, 2 didn't get fired at Florida. 8 different coaches I've sat through and watched and written about the transition of these coaching staffs. You're right. It's absolutely brutal. It's painful for the families. I mean, one of Florida's greatest teams, they didn't win a championship. The 69 Gators, he got fired, kicked upstairs, and all the coaches on staff I was very close to, it was painful, awful. And you're right. They have no idea the toll it takes on families. It's really incredible what it does. So my heart goes out, and especially this time of year, holidays. Your kids are all saying, "Okay, where am I going to go to school?" It's a hard thing, and I give people say, "Well, they're rich, they get this." No, you've been rejected, you've been fired, and you have to move your family. It's not a good scene. My heart goes out to them too.
David wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. Buddy, what is your take on UF's complete lack of class in the game and Wilson slapping his coach's arm? Actually, that wasn't Billy Gonzalez's arm. Billy Gonzalez is the receiver coach. That's one of those analysts that he slapped his arm.
Right. That's not Billy
Gonzalez.
On that?
Your thoughts?
Well, Billy? I mean, I don't have a problem with the Billy. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't know much about the spitting incident because I couldn't hear it in the press box. You filled me in on it last night. Lions. There's no place for that. There ought to be at least a suspension for that. You can't have players like that. I'm a lot more concerned about the lack of discipline in terms of the targeting call, in terms of the pre-snap penalties, which were better. I thought the defense played much more efficiently. I think they played well enough to win that game. Shane, they were ahead with 5 minutes to go in that game. The defense could not have played better. In the end, they could not stand toe-to-toe with the talent on the team, although I think you said you didn't think much of their talent. Like you said, the edge rushers are really good, and the offensive line got beat up by them. And so, yeah, I think it was a great effort. But, again, there's no room in the trophy case for consolation prizes. It's just sweet as Florida. But here's the grim part about it, Shane. I wrote this. The school once known for 3 national championships is now known for 3 straight losing seasons.
Yep, that ain't good. 1966 HBC beer is available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games in the Swamp, and select retail outlets. Crisp American Lager. 1966 HBC beer. We got Buddy on the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. We'll have Edgar Thompson, who broke the news last night. Andy says Cam Jackson not happy with Spencer gone, according to his Twitter post. He might be leaving. Look, that happens. He needs to get used to coaches getting fired. I can't tell you how many teams I played on where coaches got fired.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just part of the
Who
business.
Who was the worst one for you?
Where coach? Well, honestly, I didn't care because I didn't have any relationship. You know, the NFL doesn't. You don't care. College, you know, you do build relationships with your coaches, but it's no different. He needs to get ready because he's going to be cut. If he gets a chance at the NFL, he will get cut time after time. Players get cut in that league, and that's basically you're getting fired. So I don't see him going anywhere. I don't think he can anyway. He can't go in the portal again. He's not a graduate student, I don't believe. There was one here I wanted to see here. 941 Life says, so how many yards Mertz would have thrown against? I mean, that's hypothetical. Who knows?
Yeah, really.
But he's accurate and he knows how to get rid of the football. He knows where to go with it. That's what.
And he would not have been running the football. He would not have been running.
People don't see that. So anyway, John said there is no problem with Wilson swatting the coach's arm away. He was pissed at the FSU player and the coach just holding him longer than he needed to be done. So, all right. So, buddy, let me just ask you this question. You've watched them play. Well, you've watched this team, this staff. So they're getting rid of some guys. Mm-hmm. It's going into year 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you think gets fired?
All right, I got
if you were in charge, who would you fire?
All right, I got you covered because I was waiting you to give me a chance. I want to go down the staff. There's only 10, 2 are gone, and say let's play in or out. Let's talk about each guy, where we think he's going to go. Is there a chance he'd leave? Should he be fired or retained? You ready to play?
Yeah, let's play the game.
All right.
Out.
Interesting. I was going to say in, but barely, but you went further than that. Out. Okay.
Well,
no, that's okay. You don't have to justify. Just say in or out. If you want to comment, fine. But I look, if you want to talk about the department that didn't get it done, offensive line is a poster boy for that. How they wound up like that. All right, here's one for you. Austin Armstrong, in or out?
Well, he's in. He's under a big contract for a couple of years, and you can tell that he's definitely staying. But you only asked me about one O-line coach.
Well, I'm going to get to him.
Okay.
Austin Armstrong, I would say in with the provision that he get a co-defensive coordinator or somebody who has a little more gray hair to be his top aide. He needs more experience on the staff. All right. Sean Spencer is gone. Jabbar Jaluke.
In.
Okay. I'm a little surprised about Corey Raymond. I don't know what happened. I'd like to know the whole story there.
Well, as a lot of people said, LSU didn't keep him because their DBs were playing bad, and our DBs haven't played great here the last 2 years. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
All right. Jay Bateman, linebacker coach.
I honestly don't have a comment on that guy.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I'd put a question mark there.
Okay, I agree on that. Okay, here's one interesting. Russ Callaway.
I'd keep him.
Good recruiter, supposedly. Tight end play was pretty decent, I thought. Had some injuries there. Billy Gonzalez.
I'd keep him.
He's in, I think. Mike Peterson.
I'd keep him. Even though his guys need to play better.
They do. Now, the second offensive line coach, Darnell Stapleton.
Out.
So you think
I'd keep Sale before him.
Keep Sale and get rid of Darnell? Is that what you're saying?
I'd probably get rid of both of them and hire one line coach. We don't need two.
Okay. I agree with that. And you just aforementioned Mark Hockey.
Out.
Why'd they get so down on him all of a sudden?
I don't know if they were ever high on him. I don't know. I think when you're getting pushed around at the lines of scrimmages, you got to make a change there.
That would have been my first change. That would have been my first fire right there. Excuse me for interrupting you.
I'm the last person you got to sit here ask about weight training and stuff because I didn't do any of that.
Mhm.
But nobody has secret stuff that you do. Everybody does the same lift, but we obviously aren't getting the message across or doing
Yeah.
something correctly.
Yeah.
Now, as I've said multiple times, some guys are strong in the weight room, but ain't real strong on the football field. So we need to find the strong football field guys.
Shane, I don't know. You look pretty buff the other night. We're sitting at the table with all those writers as you're getting ready to go over to accept your award. Congratulations.
I am a whopping 25, almost 30 pounds heavier. No, about 20 pounds heavier than when I played.
You were too light.
I was very light.
No.
Very light.
You're at your best playing weight right now.
That's right. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. We got Buddy, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. We'll have Edgar Thompson at 8:30.
Can I read you something when you get a minute?
Yeah, let me read this. Justin wants to know on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumb. What kind of coaching talent is Billy going to attract in a hot seat season? You got to remember, that's a great point, but usually coaching is about relationships, or there's other guys that have been fired looking for a job.
Yeah. I mean, 2-year contracts too. Even though they would get fired, they have to pay him or keep him. If Billy's not going to get fired, I don't think, unless he just totally flops. But he's somebody who believes.
Hold your thought. This is pretty good by North Florida Bear. Listen to this. How much does your football program reflect the desires of your university's president? Matchin was a sports guy. Fox was not.
Right.
How many years was Fox here? Was Urban's last was Urban Matchin's last football coach?
He was the last hire, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, no, he had to sign off on Mullen, didn't he?
I don't know. Was he here then? I don't think Matchin was here.
I get the years. I get the years mixed up.
Yeah. So, what was your thought you were going to ask me?
I was just going to say that I have a friend who's a former high school coach, pretty astute, lifetime Gator fan, and he wrote me last night. He said, "We are young again, and we all like Billy, but total lack of discipline has cost us 3 games this year. The first fundamental of football is discipline." I agree with that. I think they were more disciplined than they were earlier in the year. And finally, he said, ask Spurrier about Jed Fish of Arizona, who, by the way, was a hot candidate for some jobs. Do you know Jed Fish? And Shane, what do you think of him as a coach?
I like Jed. Now, Jed's been fired by about 7 NFL teams as offensive coordinators. Jed's a great guy. His college roommate was Howie Roseman, who's the general manager of the Eagles here at Florida. Jed should be coach of the year for what he's done in Arizona, quite honestly. But they're not going to hire him here.
Okay. What about Bubba Spurrier at Duke?
I would love to see Bub get that opportunity. That's his alma mater, and obviously with the Spurrier ties there, I'm hoping they at least give him an interview.
A look, yeah. Let's give him a look, yeah.
So Matchin was here from 03 to 14.
Okay. So 14 was McElwain, right? I just get them all mixed up. I
can't keep up with it. Here's got a text on the Titan MR text line. It says, Shane, the money's crazy in the NFL. Do you remember what your first contract was worth? Yeah, mine was like $180,000. I told you my signing bonus was $3,500. In 1995, we got destroyed by Nebraska. They fired the strength coach. Next year, it showed we moved people around all season. And then here's another Kevin from Punta Gorda. Do players sign contracts to be at schools when they are getting paid? Who's controlling the contract? So I believe the way it works. Now, remember, the coaches aren't paying these players. The UAA is not paying these players.
Right.
All this stuff comes from the side.
Allegedly.
Florida Victorious. So I do believe they signed some type of an agreement
with the Florida Victorious. They do, yes.
For Florida Victorious.
Yes.
All right, this is Hunt. He says, Shane, how much does preparation during the week change when you go from QB2 to QB1 like Max Brown experienced last week? Are there specific changes that happen on a day-to-day basis outside of getting more reps? No. You do the same thing as the starter all week long. You just don't get as many reps, but nothing really changes.
Shane, how's the quarterback play been for the Eagles?
The Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah.
It's been all right. I mean, Jalen Hurts makes plays.
Good. It's been good.
Yeah.
I saw Brian Johnson last night. I thought about this. He did something I've never known before. Maybe you've seen it, and I wonder why more coaches don't do it. He gave all three quarterbacks equal reps with the ones every day. You know that?
Yeah.
And it paid off for him with Trask.
Yeah.
Is that a good idea?
What's crazy is there's people in the Philly fans that won't get rid of him. These people
want to get rid of him?
Yeah, because they sputtered offensively.
Yeah, but it's not always
a lot of
quarterback
games this year.
Fun. Yeah.
Reggie says he thinks Billy Gonzalez is gone as well.
Based on what? Based on what?
Oh, I don't know, but Billy kind of was a fill-in guy because he lost his receiver coach to the Broncos last year.
I'd like to know some sources when people say things once in a while. I can pull.
Well, these guys are just listeners like we are, buddy.
I get it, but they're saying it as a matter of fact. But if we're reporters and writers, we can't just say that without knowing something. You wouldn't say it. You know a lot. You wouldn't say it.
I mean, I don't know a lot because I didn't know this. Chris just said.
But go ahead.
Chris just said on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, that it was announced last night that Mark Hockey would be retained to the 2024 season. Just as
see that.
So
yeah, good. Edgar would know that. See, I didn't hear it either. Too much information to process, Shane.
I'm very
too much information.
Surprised. I'm very surprised about that. Andy says maybe Billy Gonzalez will be gone because Aiden Mizell and Andy Jean didn't develop.
Where are they going to play him?
Yeah, I don't know why.
How are they going to get him in the game? Only one ball.
All About Blakely says both O-line coaches and Billy G are gone.
Okay,
so
well, good to know
that. Maybe that happens today. Billy, I mean, buddy, I got a trivia question for you here. I want to get your thoughts on this.
All right.
Did you know since 1999, every Oklahoma Sooner offensive coordinator went on to be a head coach?
I did not.
I mean, it was supposed to be a trivia question. I was supposed to ask you to give them to me. So I'm going to give you the names.
Okay.
Listen to these names. Mike Leach, Mark Mangino, Chuck Long, Kevin Wilson, Josh Heupel, Lincoln Riley, and now Jeff Lebby.
That's hell of a stat.
That's pretty impressive, though.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Were you surprised at Jeff Lebby?
No. I like Jeff Lebby a lot. I think it's great for the state of Mississippi, bringing back a young or just a guy who has some flair to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he coached under Lane. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get that Twitter battle back and forth that the fans love there in the state of Mississippi. And
I'm sorry.
I want to ask you offensively.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I want to get this in for you. Can you tell me right now, if you're going to be a head coach, who you'd hire as your offensive, defensive coordinator, you personally, or the new head coach of Georgia Tech? I don't care. And now you're going to hire OC and DC.
I would hire Kerwin as my offensive coordinator.
Kerwin, offensive coordinator, right?
And I would call the damn defensive coordinator Iowa. I would.
No, I'm just laughing because we don't know his name, but you like
Phil Parker. Phil Parker. I know his name.
Okay,
Phil Parker.
Yeah,
he's been there for like 13 years.
They had a hell of a year. The defense.
They do it every year. They do it every year. Let's get to this day in sports. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star powered life in your with Campus USA Credit Union. All right, buddy. Listen to this. In 1895, America's first auto race was organized by the Chicago Times-Herald. Were you working there then?
Yeah, I started out in 1895.
Okay. So the race went from Chicago to Evanston, where Northwestern is, and back. There were 6 cars for 55 miles. They averaged the winning miles per hour.
Let me guess.
7 miles per hour.
Oh, I would guess like 30. 7 miles an hour?
Yeah. That was the first race.
That's a hot
Auto
race.
That's hilarious. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. All right, buddy. Andy's got a question for you real quick off topic.
Right.
He says, did you ever see the Denver Broncos turning their season around? They look playoff bound.
Do I see it now? It looks that way. I think he's got that team together. They're beating good teams now. They finally got some defense. I haven't followed the Broncos closely this year. Used to cover them, as you know, but that could happen because I think that division is kind of open, isn't it?
Yeah, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the
but the second place team at least.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Have a good show tonight. And
all right,
we'll talk
Shane.
to you next week.
David Whitley. Yeah, we'll be on with him tonight. Thanks, Shane. Have a good day.
All right, that's the great Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Take a quick time out. Come back. Maybe Edgar's got some breaking news for us. We'll be joined by Edgar Thompson, the Orlando Sentinel. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structure with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. Going back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we're joined by the guy that does breaking news, Edgar Thompson. How you doing, my man?
It's rare that happens, but when it does, it definitely is. It's gratifying for sure. But these things end up. It's all luck. You hear something, you follow it up, and it falls in your. It happens. It's not something that happens all the time. But yeah, that was a wild evening last night. It kind of shocked me. To Billy's credit, he didn't waste any time making moves. And he shouldn't.
Yeah, and you don't think it's they got more to make, correct?
You have to think. I mean, how can you not move to the offensive staff? Maybe they've already made some moves. Things are very secretive over there. It's hard to get information, and you're talking about people's lives and fairness.
Mm-hmm.
Publicize your firing people.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, everybody, whether it's on my show, your show, national shows, and these chat rooms, Edgar Thompson needs to get fired as the offensive line coach, blah, 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 blah. Well, nobody's talking publicly about the guy posting about him getting fired at his job.
They are actually. Mark Long tweeted the other night something, and people are, it was about Billy's response to the question about discipline and how he just kind of played like, what do you mean to me? And he's like, come on, man. He knows what OS Gators was at. And someone's like, to be honest, both you guys should get fired. And I'm like, what? And then I went and looked on Sunday morning. I noticed this, and there was already like 5,000 views and 46 likes. So there are people that want us fired too. And I'm sure more.
There's no question. Joseph on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says a recruiting reporter on GatorCountry.com reported that too many times this year, we've heard about guys getting special treatment or missing things without punishment. And then why does he got the country music television, the CMT logo next to that? Joseph, explain to me what you're talking about there, but I'm lost with that because you got the CMT, which I do like. Oh, he did. Okay. All right. So Kenny says, I'm not thrilled with any head coach hire so far elsewhere. Levy, they are cheering in Oklahoma that he is gone. Dude at Oregon State goes to Michigan State after a 7-win season, one of his best. Yeah, he left his alma mater to take the money. All right, Edgar. So when we look at this staff, obviously 2 coaches have been fired. Do you think that they're done on the defensive side of the ball, or could more stuff happen there? And then he's going to eventually have to get rid of some folks on offense.
I was pretty honest at the beginning, rather than like back padding. Look, this stuff it filters out somehow. I don't know. I don't know what's on Billy's mind over there. I think Jay Bateman has clearly proved himself as a recruiter. The guy has 3 top linebackers in this class. Mike Peterson is working with these young edge guys. If they like how they're coming along, Collins, James, Searcy. I thought Searcy was pretty good this year. I mean, Princely, early on, I was not impressed, but he had a pretty good year, Princely. He didn't have a whole lot of help. So maybe he likes what Mike Peterson's doing, and that would not be a popular move, getting rid of Mike Peterson. Right. So I don't know. Who else would it be? I don't know. I think that's enough on defense. But in terms of offense, you got to do something because you got to make room. We presume to get someone in here to help with play calling and with scheming. Do you think they need to do that? I mean, you're the offensive guy. Do you think they need help?
I think he's going to do it just because people think he needs to do it to buy more time. I think there's so many other issues on the staff that would be the bottom if I was in charge.
Well, tell me what other issue?
Well, you got special teams issues. You've had the clock management, which falls on the head coach. I get that's what I'm saying, but just because he's calling plays, I've talked about it numerous times on here. Special teams, your entire staff is part of special teams. Game management, coming out of timeouts, delay of games. That's an entire offensive unit's responsibility, not the play caller. The play caller has too much going through his mind. Well, and so people are like, well, if he has a play caller, then Billy can. Well, there are other coaches, and you got 20,000 analysts that understand football. Don't let it happen. That's what bothers me the most. I would get rid of every damn analyst we got. I don't know how many we got. I'd get rid of all of them and I hire 10 new ones.
Okay, well, look, he's not going to do that. I mean, he's got too many things going on to try to put all that together. He's trying to put together he's trying to hold on to this recruiting class for one. And there was a lot of reaction about these firings from some recruits because Corey Raymond's popular and a good recruiter. Xavier Filsam was like, WTH, what the hell? But then I heard later on Instagram Live, I saw a tweet about it. I don't go on Instagram Live. I mean, I'm too old for that. But apparently he was talking on there about we got to hold the class together. We got to turn this thing around. which is positive because you don't want to lose him. 5-star safety. You need a good safety coming in and who can play immediately because the safety position struggle. I think Costello's got some potential. Thornton, I kind of like. Miguel Mitchell, shaky. But so they have to keep the recruiting class. The portal opens Monday. Billy's got a lot of balls in the air, and to try to put together a bunch, 20 analysts, get 20 new analysts is probably a big ask. In terms of play calling and him being able to manage the game, if he weren't thinking about the next play or thinking about, all that stuff, I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of multitasking. I don't know how it all works, but clearly the timeouts and the operation need to smooth out, man. Because it's just
I agree. But like I told you,
it's a bad look.
Billy. It's on Billy, but it's the staff. I don't feel like they have a feel of what's going on in a football game. It's happened way too many times, and there's too many people not knowing what's going on. That has nothing to do with play calling or anything. It just drives me insane, that kind of stuff. Rod's got a question for you, Edgar, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Ask Edgar if the firings coming from over Napier's head, like pressure from Strickland, because Strickland knows his success depends on Napier.
I don't believe so. I think that there's going to be Scott might put some pressure on Billy in terms of the play calling aspect. Maybe. I don't know. Scott, day-to-day operational stuff, I'm just not sure what the level of engagement is or push on his coaches. I think he hires people and trusts them. And maybe that's not always the way to do it, but I think how he operates, it's kind of opposite of Jeremy Foley's way. Scott has a lot of things to worry about too. He's got a lot of money to raise. The whole landscape's changing before our eyes as we speak, with NIL becoming more prevalent. Players ultimately are going to get a bigger piece of the pie, a lot of people believe. He's got a big renovation of the swamp about to take place. He's got a lot going on himself. You got to trust that your football coach you're paying $7-8 million is in charge of figuring this out. Yeah.
And like I said, I was kind of being funny about firing all the analysts, but we have so many, and I'm not sure what they all do.
It's superfluous for sure. I mean, I don't.
But from a financial standpoint, whatever we're paying that total allotment to them, cut it in half and use that towards something. Towards something else. $5 million.
$5 million to support staff. Here's the thing, and we've talked about this on our pod. Mark Long and I have speculated on this, and it might be completely off base. But Billy was discussed with a number of jobs: South Carolina, Tennessee, Auburn, Mississippi State, I believe, were the four. Did any of them make an offer to him? Did he interviewed with some of them, presumably, because he was tied to these. He had a real big ask. When he came here, he said he was waiting for the right situation. I was thinking, he wanted a program with the tradition, the prestige, the potential, and Florida was it. Well, Florida might have been the one that was it. They signed off on his plan because his plan had a real big price tag on it. It was a $6 million plus increase on what Dan Mullen had, I think 6.2. And it's a very expensive investment that's been made into this whole thing. And maybe Florida was the one that signed off on it. And Billy thinks this is how you need to operate. And it's not working right now. I'm not saying that ultimately, I'm not saying I'm convinced Billy Napier is not going to survive this, but man, it's looking very tenuous after 2 years.
Text on the Titanamore text line from Billy. He says, we just need to bring back the Gator Getters. They were free recruiters and did a great job. I agree with that. You weren't around with the Gator Getters, were you?
Somebody sent me a picture of them.
Yeah, so they used to wear cowboy hats to sit in the end zone, but they were all girls that were students.
I wish I was a football recruit after the picture the person sent me.
Yeah, it was they were great, and they didn't cost the UAA $1.
Well, yeah, well, there's a lot of excess in college sports. Obviously, we know that. These facilities, all this stuff. Coach Spurrier, 2013 SEC Media Days in Destin. We were asking him because the indoor practice facility was being discussed at this point, and coach is like, well, I sure won a lot of football games with a 180-yard field. So it's changed, but there was a lot of good football being played without all these bells and whistles.
Well, yes, but he also had a South Carolina.
Did I lose you?
That's just my 2 cents on it. Then we just had another one.
Well, everybody's got to keep up. The arms race is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia and Alabama have already redone their facilities since ours has been built.
Well, A&M, A&M is always building constantly.
Oh yeah,
they spent like $1 billion.
Yeah, they got more money than they know what to do with. Van Der says, Edgar, how much more scared money does Billy have now? I'm not sure what that means.
Well, I'll tell you this, his approach, the conservative, like you're talking about play calling being down the list, and I get that. But the 4th and 1, I mean, we don't need to go relitigate FSU too much, but I'm curious on a couple. 4th and 1, you kick a field goal. Okay, I don't like that personally. And then they got real conservative on one drive, just ran 3 straight running plays. I forget which one it was. It was like, I didn't like. And then you're 12-0, you're on the 46 of FSU. You run that reverse stuff, and it's a double reverse. And I'm listening to something earlier, and the person's point that was good was you run the one reverse, then the defense is flowing, and then you do the other reverse right back into the defense. And they didn't have to really do anything. They're there. So I don't know, man. There's just too much of that to me. But you know how a game play, you know how to call plays. You played the position at the highest level. You played for the greatest offensive mind to come down the pike in SEC history, arguably. So you know a lot more than we do. But you don't have any issues with some of this?
No, I do. I say it on the broadcast every week. I do not understand when we line up in a 3-by-1 formation, meaning 3 receivers to one side, a single guy. It's always Khalil Jackson. I have nothing against Khalil. I think he's a good little player, but he is not the single receiver. You put your best, your fastest, explosive player over there, and you attack that single DB. And you throw at least 6 balls down the field every game. You're not going to hit them. I don't give a damn if you hit them or not. You're going to get pass interference. That's all Florida State did. I don't think they hit a ball down the field, maybe one, but they got 3 PI calls. You have to throw it down the field. That's the safest play in football. Safest play. Edgar, if you were coming out and I had to call plays and we had to bring you in the stands to play quarterback because every quarterback on the roster got hurt and you raised your hand and said you want to come to the game. The first play I'm calling is you throwing the ball deep because you don't have to think. It's the safest throw in football. Everybody thinks it's not. Hitches and slants and even those wide receiver screens, those are so much more dangerous than throwing the ball deep.
You get guys hurt. Look at ETN got just slammed on that one play.
Well, you got to blame Trey Wilson for that. He didn't even block his guy. But I hear you. What is the status of his injury?
I mean, I have no clue. I mean, Eugene Wilson is what was the Missouri game? 8-yard touchdown in the back of the end zone. Nice play. And he got 5 touches for 2 yards the rest of the game. Because the rest of the half, all that east-west stuff, they knew it was coming. You know what he's doing. It's what he does. So I think they need another offensive mind in there. I don't know how they're going to get it. I don't know what the move is going to be, but you got 2 O-line coaches. The O-line is not good. The portal identification of guys last year wasn't astute or whatever word you want to say. Lindell Hudson, I don't really know. I mean, he's gone now, but he was just a guy at most. Damian George had 8 penalties this year. You get Mazuka, paid him a good bit of money, allegedly, and he comes in with a shoulder injury. He needed surgery. They didn't even know. So he never really, he played better as the year went on, but Damian George, man, had issues a lot this year. They got to do better in the portal, man. They need some O-linemen, big time. So you had one good O-lineman this year, and Kinsley was hurt all year. That hurt the whole, cohesion, leadership, all that. I don't know, man. I don't know what you do there, but 2 doesn't seem to be working or be necessary.
Chris on YouTube, brought to you by Claude Plumman, says, fire all the beat writers too. Fire
Yeah,
everybody.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
I mean, we're the problem. And look, I've done this. Billy's my 6th head coach, and I haven't come out of a year or 2, Shane. This, I don't want to say concern, because I'm not like concerned, but this, lacking this much optimism about what's coming. I didn't come out as Zook. You came out as Zook after year 2. You're like, I don't think this guy's the guy, right? But they had just signed the #1 recruiting class in the nation, 6 5-star guys. He was killing it there. You come out of Muschamp year 2, 11 wins. You come out of McElwain year 2. I wasn't expecting year 3 to be very good. I thought it was going to be a boring year. It was anything but boring, but they played in the SEC title game. Come out of Mullen year 2. They'd won the Orange Bowl in 11 games. You come out of Urban year 2, national title. You're coming out of this year 2, and you're like, man, I mean, this future, what's the future?
All right. So a last text here for you on the Titan Amore text line from George. He says, Edgar, what Gator players are going to enter the portal, in your opinion?
I don't. You guys are just throwing these are just impossible questions to answer. I'll tell you who they don't want to enter the portal is Trevor Etienne. Big time.
Or Trey Wilson.
Trey Wilson's a Tampa kid, though. The good news about Trevor, his whole family apparently is in Jacksonville now. So he's close to his family, and he's a family guy. He's a young kid. He's still 19 years old. I keep bringing that up. He's so young. Does he go to FSU? I mean, straight down I-10? That'd be like the only reasonable option.
You don't think Dabo's people are
I'm sure they are, but how close? But I'm just saying, if he wants to be close to family.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's going to FSU. I'm not trying to plant rumors. I'm just saying, if you want proximity to your family, where else are you going to go? I think he likes it here. So they need to keep him, man. And they need to keep Eugene Wilson. You're right. Who knows what those guys are thinking? Who knows with his father? His father played for Bill Belichick and won 2 Super Bowl rings. And he's watching what's going on here with this operation. He's got to be going, my God. I mean, this guy was around one of the greatest football minds ever, and he's watching this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but those 2 are top of list. Who else? I don't know. I mean, you got a couple of these young defenders. You don't want to lose Kelby Collins, for example, right? I mean, he's an Alabama kid. Searcy's a Georgia kid. I'm not saying any of these guys are thinking anything. I have no idea. But, you don't want to lose a couple. Those 2 guys I think are promising.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But it all opens up officially Monday, and it's going to be a mess. I saw somewhere where a lot of Florida State people want them to go after Riley Leonard from Duke, their quarterback.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, in fact, his coach left. I mean, he might be looking.
Yeah. Oh, last thing I wanted to ask you too, because people have asked me, do you think Graham Mertz comes back and is a Gator next year?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, but that's based on a conversation I had a month ago too. And I need to follow up on that conversation. I think Graham Mertz is going to come back. I think he likes it here. I think Billy wants him back. I think he would be a great bridge guy to Lagway. I don't think DJ Lagway's ready to come in and take over. I was here when Chris Leak got here. They bridged from him with a guy named Engel Martin, who ended up going to Furman and having a really damn good career there. And nice little player, but Leak eventually took over for him. And maybe that's how it works out with Mertz. If Lagway, gets some action and some reps and finally takes over, if he proves that he's ready. I don't know. But I think you need a veteran.
I agree. Don wanted to know, do I think our facilities draw athletes? Well, we got a good facility now. You have to have those things to compete with everybody else in America. Are our facilities the top? No, I'd put them in the SEC probably 6th or 7th.
I think
But it's
they're
all
on
about
6th or 7th on the list for recruits now. They want NIL,
it's all about money.
NIL, playing time, NIL, and then facilities.
Yeah. All right. We just got one more text here. They want to know, are the players renegotiating their NIL deals this week before December the 4th?
Well,
I don't know how any of that works.
I think I just answered that question.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
NIL, man. I mean, they've whether you think it's good for this game, ruin the game, whatever you think, it's the reality.
Yeah, for sure. Edgar, good stuff. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter.
OS Gators, give me a follow. I'm sure there'll be more activity this week on some fronts, Gator-wise.
All
Thanks,
right. Good
Shane.
job. Good job with the breaking news. That's Edgar Thompson
Thank
for the
you, man.
Orlando Sentinel. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey.